one of my followers on YouTube, who's also on your groups as well, to do a demonstration on how I make the flour paste. Now the flour paste that I'm making that he's asked about is the no egg whites. So this is suitable for all vegetarians and vegans because the ingredients in it don't have any animal products in at all. Now the ingredients that are in it are icing sugar, glucose, boiled or distilled water, vegetable oil, and tylose powder. Now with some of the ingredients you have to be very careful when you're measuring out that you get everything precise. In order to make this a lot faster, I've already measured out all of the ingredients that I've got, and this is my second attempt at doing this video because on the first one I forgot to switch my microphone on. So I've already mixed the icing sugar and tylose powder, so I'll just go down to the where we're working. Right, I've already put my icing sugar and tylose powder in here. Now the thing that I wanted to point out about when you're measuring out your ingredients, you don't have to be spot on with your icing sugar because the recipe states 3 cups of sifted confectioner sugar, or icing sugar as we call it, which is round about between 450 to 459 grams if you're weighing it out. Now the thing is, with tylose powder you need to be very, very precise, and it depends on how soft you want your paste to be. Now in this recipe I've used 2 tablespoons of tylose powder, and I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to put it in, but basically when you get your tylose powder out of the bag like that, I'm just going to switch my camera around so you can see what I'm doing here. You need to level that off. Make sure that that is completely level. Don't put a heaped tablespoon in. It's as a level one. Now, depending on how soft you want it to be, if you find that it's too stiff with this, then you can make it with 1 tablespoon of tylose powder. Don't throw your stiff paste away if you've already made that. If you make the softer one up and then mix the two together. So in there I've put 2 tablespoons of tylose powder and the icing sugar into a bowl. Now that's the first step. Now just move that out of the way. The next step is to mix your wet ingredients together, which is your water, your glucose syrup, and the vegetable oil. Now I've got in here, I've got 2 tablespoons of boiled water. Now I have boiled it rather than, because you can use bottled water if you prefer to use that, but it's just as easy just to boil your water. As long as it's been boiled, make sure that it gets any impurities out of it, then it's fine. Then add to that your vegetable oil. Now it does say in the recipe that you can use where are we? Just looking at my instructions here. You can use coco oil. Wouldn't know where to get that from here. You may be able to get hold of that, so if you can get hold of it you can use that instead of the vegetable oil. Now again, I've been very precise with the liquid glucose because as you can see it's very thick, so you need to add this into your there. Now if I just tip that up, it's not going to just come out of there, so you need to make sure that you get all of that out of your measure. And for this recipe we've got 1/4 cup of liquid of glucose. Doesn't matter about that being on the edge there because this is going to go into the microwave to warm so that I can mix it. Now the first time I made this, I didn't read my instructions properly, and I actually used the water after I boiled it. I put it into the jug and it obviously cooled down a bit, and I found it quite easy to mix that way. So if you're using boiled water, then you don't necessarily have to do this next stage that I'm about to do here. So get rid of that out of the way. So I'm now going to go off and microwave this to warm it up. So I'll be back in a sec. Right, so I've been and had my wet ingredients in the microwave. So I'm just going to scrape some of that glucose down that was on the side and stir it all together. Now you will find it'll go a bit cloudy whilst you're mixing it, so just keep on mixing it until it becomes clear. Still a little bit cloudy, just keep on a little bit, just to make sure that everything's incorporated into your water and oil. Just move those pieces of equipment out of the way. I don't think there's any. No, I think we're all mixed in there. No lumps of anything in there. Right, so I'm just going to move some of these ingredients out of the way and bring back my bowl of dry ingredients. So what we need to do first of all is to make a well in the centre. It's better if you sift your icing sugar. I'm just going to take my jewellery off because you don't want anything getting in there. Get those out of the way. Make a well in the centre of your dry ingredients and then pour in the liquid ingredients. Right, move that out of the way. So what you need to do now is to fold in your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients and gradually start to mix it together. You can use a spoon or a knife or a fork or whichever is best for you to get to start getting your ingredients mixed in together. Like that. Keep on mixing until you get a stiff dough. Now I've got my Trex here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub some of that on my hands first of all so that the mixture doesn't stick to my hands. Make sure you get plenty on. Don't be frightened of getting loads on your hands. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this out on my worktop, but before I do that I'm just going to rub some white fat on my worktop. Get that out of the way so that it doesn't stick to that. This is rather than using more icing sugar, because if you use too much icing sugar as well, it can end up too stiff as well. This is why it's a good idea to keep to the ingredients that you've got in your recipe. a lot of these recipes are tried and tested, so try not to deviate if you can, unless you find it's too soft or too stiff. Then you can adjust by putting a bit less in of your ingredients. As you can see, this is still, it's fairly soft, is this, you know. I will get some more of that out there. I just want to clean my spoon off to get everything off of there so I can scrape the rest out of my bowl. I hate waste. That's the way I was brought up, in a generation where you didn't waste. Besides, if there's too much left in your bowl, that could make a few leaves and petals, couldn't it, for whatever it is you're doing. A lot of chefs tend to leave half of the stuff in the bowls, but personally I don't like doing that. Right, so once we've got majority of that off of there, then we can start kneading it now. And that's probably going to feel a bit soft at this point, so as anything that you make with tylose powder, if you're making the glue with tylose powder or whatever, you need to leave it overnight to get to where you want it to be. So I just want to make sure that there's no lumps or anything like that in this. And I find this recipe is really brilliant, because when you're making any leaves or anything like that and you're putting them on wires, it is quite a sticky paste, so you tend not to need any glue on your wire, which I quite like. So keep on kneading it until you get it into a nice soft dough. And also doing it on the white fat, because you've got it on your hands as well. It'll help to stop your paste drying out once you wrap it up and put it to one side ready for using. Right, so that's how your paste should look. So the next step you need to do now is to wrap that up in some cling film. I've got some resealable bags here, so I'm going to use a resealable bag. Cling film on its own is no good. I tend to like using resealable bags because you can get the air out and it doesn't breathe. Cling film does let air through, so you have to put quite a few layers on to make it so it's better. So I'm going to pop that in there into my resealable bag. Just get that top together, get all the air out around your bag and seal that up. Like that, and then roll your bag up to make sure that all the air is kept out, because if you get any air in your bag at all, that will dry your paste out. But that's still quite soft, so we can leave that like that now and leave that overnight until it's so we've got the bag's not sealed up properly there. I'm sure somebody would have picked me up on that on the videos. Like going off camera, that's one of my habits as well. I apologise about that, but I hope that's helped you to get a reasonable soft paste that you can use. It will firm up, as I say, will that. So as I say, leave it overnight until let the tylose powder do its work, and then try it and see what it is. Let me know how you go on with it, and hope to see you in the next video. I think I'm gonna have a go at doing anthuriums. I've never done them before, so in the next video I'm gonna do an anthurium. So see you in the next video. Take care, stay safe.